I'm here at LuxCon with artist Neal Adams. Thank you for speaking with me.
Pleasure. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, no, it's very unique for me because I'm used to going to comic book conventions, and this is very, very different.
Yeah. Is this your first time at LuxCon?
First time. Actually, first time I've ever been to anything like. I don't know how many things are like this. I mean, to a certain extent, it seems unique in itself. Mm-hmm. You know, there are exhibits and stuff, but this is sort of like a con, and sort of like an exhibit, and sort of like a sale, sort of like I don't know anything like this. I've never seen anything like this. And I've been to a lot of conventions, and there are a lot of conventions that pretend to be, to have art focus, and they're actor focus or cosplay focus.
Right.
But there seems to be a very broad range of what they do here, but it's all related to art.
Right.
I really like that.
I've heard there's one other in Kansas City, maybe called Spectra.
Could be. I'll check it out for you.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out too. So, is there an artwork here you are most proud of, and why?
No, there's nothing. Yeah, whatever I'm doing tonight when I go back to the hotel, that would be pretty much it.
Okay.
I mean, I have a piece I'm doing in front of me that I kind of like, but I don't think that way. I think that there are pieces here that I like for different reasons, and I can explain it, but I do such a broad range of things. Like right behind you, I have a piece that's the 100 greatest athletes of the century. I did it for ESPN magazine.
Oh, wow.
Ali and Jordan are in the middle of the ring, and there's the other 98 greatest athletes of the century around the ring.
Oh, wow.
That is pretty damn unique, I would have to say.
That's pretty awesome.
And so you have all those likenesses, and it was done to celebrate the century. That doesn't come around for another 7 years. I don't think I'm going to be here. So most of the things that I do are unique or different or the same and another slant on it or another direction. I'm not so much a painter artist.
Okay.
I do get locked into painting now and then. I have a Batman right behind you that's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Batman.
Okay.
And you would go, well, that's not a subject fit for a painting, which is exactly the reason I did it as a painting.
Oh, okay.
Well, because they called and they said, can you do a cover? And I said, Turtles, really? And Batman? You know what? I'm going to do a painting. And so I did a painting. So I don't necessarily or often do things that you expect me to do because I have too much fun doing everything that I do.
Oh, okay. I like that piece right there is really nice. What's
that is actually a design for a movie called Stars My Destination.
Okay.
I did it for Constantine Films. Constantine Films is a German company. Not a bunch of really nice fellows. I don't know why. They did a movie that sort of tried to put a good light on Hitler.
Oh.
Not necessarily a good direction, I would say, for a film company. But they had me do. They had purchased a property called Stars My Destination. I knew the history of the property, and I knew what could fix it because it was almost unfixable. So they hired me to fix it and then to design the world that it existed in. So I got to use my knowledge of engineering, of future science, to create basically that drawing there. If you could sit and look at that drawing for 15 minutes, and you'd have to have all the technology explained to you because it's all new technology that you've never heard of before.
Okay.
Jaunting and anti-gravity pods that allow you to drive on your road upside down. Spider cities that are earthquake-proof because of reasons that I'd have to explain for a half hour.
Right.
So that piece kind of puts it all together. Buses that there's a bus there that you as you're going down the street and the bus stops, you don't get into the bus at the door and then have to walk down the aisle. Where you are, a little kind of door opens up and you just step onto the bus and sit there, which is kind of a new concept for buses that nobody's thought of yet.
Right.
But you can imagine in the future somebody will have thought of it and then it turns out to be the style of bus.
Right.
So all of that is incorporated into that piece. to sell it as a piece of art is almost silly. You know what I mean? Because it's a design.
Okay.
But you know, I've had it around for long enough, and I have it in layers. So I'm offering it for sale, and if I sell it, I'll hate it. I'll hate that I sold it.
Oh, I see.
Well, because it's a design. It's not
Right.
not so much a piece of art, but a concept.
Still, it looks really good.
It is kind of neat.
Yeah.
But it's neat for different reasons. Not neat for the same reasons that you look around and see, pretty girl floating in space with lovely background.
Right.
It's neat because you're interested in what it's about, the geeky stuff that it's all about.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I get to do that a lot.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And then people give me money.
Yeah.
Imagine?
And then you keep doing it, I guess.
I keep doing it. As long as they keep giving me money.
Well, what's this particular piece about?
Well, this is like a Tarzan piece. I haven't done Tarzan pieces except for the Valentine books.
Okay.
But I thought since I'm back to painting, I don't want to have, pretty girls floating and in gauzy outfits. So I decided to do a Tarzan piece.
Okay.
So you can see there's more detail than you'd normally see in a painting.
Right.
There's also a certain symbology. There's a story being told while Tarzan is fighting this creature.
Yeah.
Clearly this creature is the king of this, whatever this land he's in, because there's this giant statue of the creature right up there.
Ah, yeah.
And after a while you look at it and you go, oh yeah, and look how big that is. And then compare it to, oh yeah.
Wow.
So obviously Tarzan has entered a land that is, this creature is, or creatures like him are like gods. So now you've got a story.
Yeah.
But now you want to read the story.
Yeah, definitely. So, I guess color will be added to this?
Oh yeah, it'll be painted.
It almost, I mean,
This is really the black plate in effect.
Okay.
That's sort of how I work, because I'm really not a classical painter. If I did it classically, I'd start a whole different way. I mean, and the thing is that I've learned to work in many techniques.
Okay.
I know what this is. What this is a color drawing. And that's what I like to do because they go faster and I get the idea across. If I'm forced to paint, well, I do it reluctantly, but I can sit and do it, and I've done it for certain jobs, certain commercial jobs, for example, billboards for commercial projects and stuff like that. But they pay me enough money to go ahead and whip out the paints and to just dab on paints. I like that. It's nice.
Okay.
Nice for a break.
Yeah. Okay.
But this, you can't really do this in a typical painterly way without spending tons and tons of time. I can get to it by, in effect, doing what, what's his name, Maxwell. I'm trying to think of the name of the artist. Maxfield Parrish.
Right, okay.
That's the way Maxfield Parrish worked. He laid down his gray tones first, then he laid down his yellows, then his blues, and then his reds, or his reds, yellows, and blues. And so built up layers of the painting. I kind of like that. It's a nice way of going.
Yeah.
So you get a full color piece, but you've laid down your gray tone first, so you get the idea, and then you put your colors over it. And then in the end, you take and put washes over that to kill some of the line work, and it looks like a painting.
Right.
Sort of cheating. I like that.
Because I was going to say that this looks beautiful as it is, black and white.
Well, that's another thing. Another thing that you can do is, because I'm working this way, once I'm done with it, I will scan it like this.
Okay.
And then it becomes a black and white print.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll sell it as a cover for something.
Right.
And then I'll go ahead and paint it, and I can sell it again for that reason.
Okay.
To me, art is a business. Okay, and it's very nice for people to think of art as art.
Right.
I don't. I think of it as the thing that I feed my kids with, and I help them buy their apartments and make sure that they get through school without having outstanding loans and things like that. To me, it's a business. And as long as I can satisfy myself on a personal basis that I've done a good job, then whatever the methodology is that I use and whatever its purpose it doesn't really quite matter. What matters is that I do something I'm happy with and that it pays the bills.
Right.
So I will get paid normally a little bit, because of the various ways I use it, I'll make more money on it than a standard artist.
Right.
But that's okay.
Yeah, no, it's definitely okay.
And then when I do a really good piece, then I give it to my kids.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and they can, sell it when they want to.
Yeah. Well, how do you know when a work is finished?
Well, as they say, it takes two people to finish a piece of work. One person to do it, and the other one to shoot him when it's done. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I wait for that guy to come in the room and blow my brains out, and that tells me it's done.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you keep fiddling with it. You know how it is.
I guess you mean metaphorically.
Yeah. Well, no. Realistically, there's a lot of dead bodies of Neal Adams lying along the road there.
Yeah.
But yeah, metaphorically, sure.
But
I prefer it the other way because I think it's funnier. But yeah, it's true. It's true. But because I'm also a commercial artist and a comic book artist and a comic strip artist, I know when a piece is done.
Okay.
It's done when I'm finished. That's the end of it.
Okay.
And I don't really waste a lot of time. I don't dawdle or dab things. I know what I'm looking for at the end. I know what it should look like. I may change my mind about little things along the way, but when I'm done, and then I move on. I'm really not that kind that has all these little foibles and things. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not there.
Because with your metaphor, I wondered if it.
I use a metaphor about everybody else, not quite me.
But I wondered if that meant your clients have to tell you, all right, you're done.
I just do it because I think it's very funny.
Oh, okay.
Because I see other people all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Gentlemen, please take a look at the giclées right over there. Much more reasonably priced than some of this junk up here. I'm just saying.
It's admired at every level.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, on a reasonable level, you know what I mean? A reasonable level, much better. Somebody, though, has to use their hand to flip through it. That's you. There you go.
We're waiting for the mental imagery.
The flipper. Okay, let's go.
All right. So, what inspires you?
What inspires me? The ability to make money.
Oh, okay. Basically.
Really? Isn't that pretty much it?
It's a good
one. If
one.
I didn't make money, I wouldn't be inspired. I can tell you that. I'd be driving a truck.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe an engineer.
An engineer, scientist, or something like that. Something that would pay me.
Yeah.
But I mean, isn't that what we're all driven by? I think so.
Mostly. Or
we lie.
Yeah.
There's lying.
There is
Lying's
lying.
good.
Yeah. Let's see. What is your most important artist tool? Is there something you can't live without in your studio?
My brain. I can't live without that.
Yeah.
But no, nothing really.
Okay.
I'm not a dilettante. I don't have any of these things. If I don't have it, I go out and buy it.
Okay.
Or I have it, or I ask somebody to take it off the shelf. I got lots of crap in the studio, but I don't think in those terms. I'm not. There's almost none of these. In all honesty, none of these questions that applies to me. I'm not that guy.
Okay.
I'm not an artist. You know what I mean? I don't.
However, your answers are. Still the answers are interesting.
Well, that I know.
Yeah.
I knew that going in. But you're right. Are interesting. But I don't think in those terms. I do like a good quality pen point. But usually I go for tools that it's hard for other people to work with, like a Gillette 290. Very, very hard pen point. It works like a brush. Very, very delicate. There's maybe 3 people in the world that can work with it. I like my standard red sable, number 2 red sable, number 3 red sable. They're always that beautiful and wonderful brushes. Yeah, if I had to do without them, I'd pick up a Japanese brush. If I didn't have my 290s, I'd pick up a 150. So I have kind of a standard. I'll tell you a quick story. I went into DC Comics, and Joe Kubert, who was a fantastic artist, runs the Joe Kubert, has the Joe Kubert School. Now it's run by his 2 sons in Derby, Connecticut.
Okay.
And Joe had just, I had gotten in, I guess, about 10:30. And Joe had penciled a Hawkman cover between the time he got in and 10:30.
Oh, okay.
It's a cover.
Right.
So I said hello to Joe, and I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm doing a Hawkman cover. I said, oh, cool. So I went into my little dark room with my projector, projecting down layouts that I had done the day before. And so instead of going to lunch, I went to the coffee room because I brought a sandwich with me, and I got a cup of coffee, and I stopped by Joe's office to see if he wanted a cup of coffee or just to say hello. I don't even know why I stopped in. He was halfway through inking the cover, if not more, and it was like 1 o'clock.
Yeah. And
I looked in amazement, as you look at any real genius, and I noticed that he was inking it with an FB6 pen point. Well, now the thing about an FB6 pen point is An FB6 pen point is a lettering pen. It's not an inking pen. It's a lettering pen. It's a crude, ugly tool for lettering. And he was inking the cover with it. And I said, Joe, that's an FB6. He says, yeah, I know, that's the only thing I find in the drawer. Couldn't care less what it was, just so long as it put ink on the paper.
Yeah. And
it was fantastic. And you look at it, it's just gorgeous.
Yeah.
Beautiful job. So it's not the tool, it's what you do with it.
Yeah.
Like I have secretary pencils.
Ah.
That's what I work with.
Oh, really?
And see that drawing over there of Wonder Woman?
Oh, excuse me.
See Wonder Woman over there?
Yeah.
I did that with a number 2 secretary pencil.
Wow, yeah.
I'm just saying, it doesn't matter what the tool is, it's how you use it.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Okay.
Not bad.
Yeah. Is there an element of art you enjoy working with most, or why? And why?
No, I prefer the variety.
Okay.
I like because I get to do a lot of different things. I get to paint. I get to draw. I get to draw comics. I get to draw. I get to do illustrations, magazine illustrations. I get to do movie posters. I get to do stage design. I get to do costume design. I get to do amusement park ride designs. I'm as much an engineer as I am an artist, so I know how things work. So designing amusement park rides is second nature to me. I also grew up in Coney Island, so I know more than the average person about amusement park rides.
Yeah.
So, and when given the opportunity, when somebody has me come in to illustrate something, and they ask me the next couple of questions like, do you think you could design one of these? Then bingo, they've asked me the right question.
Yeah.
Do I understand the special effects that go into making it? Yes, I do. They're this, that, and the other thing. Oh, would you like to design something for this? I designed, for example, the Terminator T2 3D ride.
Oh, wow.
I designed a lot of the Spider-Man ride. I designed, just in the last year, I've designed 7 rides for Indonesia.
Okay.
7 new rides. They use a lot of regular technology, but there's a couple of new things in there.
Yeah.
So I get to do that. So to me, it's the challenge of the next guy who calls the studio and says, "Can you do this?" Which my answer, whether it's a lie or not, is yes, I can do it, and then I go ahead and do it. So I can you do another kind of 3D? Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
What's the technology? Well, I'll explain it to you. Take about an hour.
Right.
I know these things, so I get to do these things. So, I mean, you can look at the wall and say, it's not like any other wall. Every piece is different from every other piece. It's a total variety of stuff that you really can't. What does he do? Well, it's in time he paints.
Yeah.
He can paint, knows how to paint, knows how to draw comic books. He knows how to do something. I mean, who in the world would do that?
Yeah.
Name the guy. I mean, who doesn't? I don't think he exists. So I get to do things that other people don't get to do.
Yeah. That's all kinds of cool
and as
stuff.
long as people keep paying me, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Yeah.
And they do.
So what was that piece for? I guess that's another Tarzan.
That was the first Tarzan of the Tarzan series for Valentine Books.
Oh, okay.
I did about 12 of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Boris took it over because the art director had a disagreement with me and threatened to throw me out the window, and then I threatened to throw him out the window.
Okay.
But I was more serious than he was.
Those weren't metaphors.
Those weren't metaphors. No, they weren't metaphors at all. It's what happens when you work with
Yeah.
They say and you go, you know what? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's
throw
dance.
Me out a window? You got it.
I think you sort of answered this question, but how did you start making art?
I started when I was a kid at 6 years old, copying old maid cards from my mom, who sat there smoking her cigarettes and drinking coffee and being fascinated that she had this kid who could copy something, probably not perfectly.
You said old maid?
Old maid cards, you know what old maid? Have you ever played old maid?
Oh.
Yeah, old maid.
I think, okay, the game.
Cards,
Okay.
They got little drawings on them. You match the cards. It's old maid.
Oh, okay. Okay, you might not like this question.
It's okay, it doesn't matter.
What role does the artist have in society?
It's the role of the artist when he properly provides his function, which he usually doesn't, is to sit on a cloud and to look at the earth below and to look at the way things are happening and to try to tell people, if he can, that if you keep on doing this, this is what's going to happen. If you keep on doing this, this is what's going to happen. Why don't you pay attention to this? Or this is what did happen. Or this is what can happen. It's his job to view from afar and to make comment as an artist on what's going on. Is it his job to decorate walls? I guess. Really? I guess it's all right.
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't really think that that's what it's about. I think it's his job to be a commenter, to say things, and to try, if he can, to say something significant every once in a while. But your training should train you to do that, even if you fail.
Yeah.
An artist can go through his whole life and never say anything significant. As long as he pays attention to the fact that he should have, he might have, and maybe if he's lucky, he'll get to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw what's called the painting that Picasso did called the Guernica.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guernica is tremendously emotional painting.
Yeah.
You can think whatever you want of Picasso, and I think it's mostly bullshit. And I don't really care what anybody thinks of what my opinion is, but when he did the Guernica, suddenly he stepped into his role properly, and he did something that made people pay attention in a painting. That was tremendously significant, and I think that's important. You can take Frank Frazetta, okay, and say, well, what did Frank Frazetta do in his career? He made you read Conan. That's what he did.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you did it, you had a great time. You were reintroduced to this writer, and this writer is in the panoply of things that you should be paying attention to. What did I do in my career? I've done a shitload of things in my career. I created the first black superhero who was a college graduate, not a gangbanger, and has a profession.
Which character is?
John Stewart, a Green Lantern, the second Green Lantern.
Okay.
We did the first comic book on drug addiction, and it's significant because one of the heroes was a drug addict, heroin addict.
Okay.
We did books on Union towns. We did books on the Chicago 7 trial.
Okay.
We insulted the Vice President and the President of the United States.
Hey, why not?
Well, they needed it.
Yeah.
It was Spiro Agnew at the time. Spiro Agnew.
Okay.
Total I got the publishers to return the art to the artists in the comic book industry, and then all industries, because everybody now does it. I got royalties for artists and writers.
Oh, wow.
I've done things.
Yeah.
I've done things. I'm a mover and a shaker.
Yeah. You made things
and
happen.
I'm not the kind of guy you want to piss off.
Yeah.
Because I smile.
Yeah. But you're not shy, yeah.
I'm not shy.
Okay. So, apart from what maybe you've mentioned or what you have shown here, what movies, books, or other artwork in science fiction or fantasy have inspired you?
Anything that's good.
Okay.
Whatever comes along is good. There's a lot of crap out there, but there's a lot of good stuff. Most science fiction stories are not science fiction. They are fantasy. They're fantasy adventure. Science fiction would be something written by Isaac Asimov, something that actually had science in it. Really not much science in science fiction.
Right, yeah.
Because most guys don't know much science. They don't know it.
Yeah.
And you really have to study science to know science for science fiction.
Yeah.
So writing Star Trek stories, it's not really writing Star Trek. It's an adventure story. It just happens to go from planet to planet.
Right.
But you see, most science fiction stories, they have no sense of distance.
Right.
We went to another galaxy. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. Yes, maybe in about 700 years, you got there. Maybe your great grandfather started, and you ended up there. But no, you didn't.
Right.
It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Bad science. They had a series. I forget it was Battlestar Galactica. Traveling from place to place was a joke. They would be traveling out to find a new planet, and then they'd get in a spaceship and they'd be at Earth.
Yeah.
How did you do that? You're light years away. You can't. It's really bad science in science fiction.
Yeah.
In fact, in some cases, there's almost no science in science fiction.
Yeah.
It's just gunfights and running gunfights and flying. Instead of horses, it's spaceships.
Right.
It's there's not a lot. So, and fantasy is fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a mental trip.
Yeah.
So that's another area.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I remember when they were in the 50s when they were doing science fiction magazines.
Mm-hmm.
There was Galaxy in science fiction. There was If Science Fiction.
Right.
There was science fiction and fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came out with that collection of books, a monthly book of science fiction or fantasy and science fiction, essentially that sort of put a cap on it and pretty much said, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's not galaxy science fiction. It's fantasy and science fiction.
Right.
And yeah, you can create stories that are analogies. Like a planet called do unto, because on the planet you do unto others as they do unto you.
Right.
And so the poorest person on the planet is the president, and the richest person has got everything, but he's a poor slob, and blah blah blah. So you're creating an analogy. So these are analog stories. Nothing wrong with those. They're not science fiction.
Right.
They're analog stories.
Right.
So there's really not a lot of science in science fiction. In fact, there's too much science. People get bored.
Right. Yeah.
Science, I don't understand any of that crap.
Yeah.
Quantum physics, as soon as you say quantum physics, people either fall asleep or walk out of the room.
Yeah.
I taught physics and geology, and I know I can empty a room in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Bye. Comparative religion, same thing. Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got to talk comic books and illustration and all the rest of this, and be interesting enough to tell stories so people don't walk away.
Yeah.
But real science and real science fiction, boring.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Well, the industry breaks it out into hard science fiction.
Yeah, which there isn't any.
Yeah.
And the rest of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. What is it? King Kong. Yeah, that's science fiction. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's a fucking giant fantasy gorilla.
Yeah.
It's nonsense, and which is fine. It's fine. But I'm an adult.
Right.
I don't buy that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
So have a good time. Everybody have a good time.
Yeah.
I would put, in all honesty, I would rather be involved in a project that had good science fiction, science in their science fiction, than the fantasy. And if you throw in the fantasy, that's okay too.
Yeah.
But based on science, because then you can explore science and you can do something a little bit different. It's not done that often.
Right.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I don't expect everybody to live by my standards. That's fine.
Okay.
Have a good time.
Yeah. Okay. Is there an art piece you'd like to create that you haven't done so yet, and what is it?
Whatever it would be, I'm working on it.
Oh, okay.
I don't live in frustration.
Oh, okay.
Never.
Okay.
But look at this. I mean, I thought to myself, gee, I'd like to do another Tarzan piece, so I started.
Boom.
Pulled out a piece of illustration board and started cranking.
Okay.
Do I know somebody's going to buy it? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to buy it. So, interesting, huh? A lot very different than the rest of the stuff. 50%.
Funny. Actually, I just wanted to wrap it up.
Sure.
Did you have any last words?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing this.
It's a pleasure.
For speaking with me.
It's a pleasure.
Please visit chrisalvarez.com for more cool stuff. That's CRISALVAREZ.com. Thanks for listening, and keep imagining the future.